is your other Abriah, Serenity, and I'm back at you with another prophetic word. And in this prophetic word, we're going to be talking about counterfeit proposals. Okay, the Lord gave me a dream, and I was prophesying to a group of people, and I was warning them about these counterfeits. Okay, that are getting ready to propose. And the Lord is saying that if some of you go forward with these marriages that He has warned you about, this person's carnality will rule over you. Okay, there will be two kingdoms in one union, and this covenant will not be a holy one. Okay, you will have the kingdom of heaven, and then you'll have the kingdom of darkness, and whatever demons, whatever idol or god this person serves is going to constantly attack you in so many ways. And you're going to find yourself submitting to the little god and being in error with big God. And anytime you try to serve your God, the big God, the true living God, you'll find yourself in error with your spouse. And the Lord also said that if you get married to these counterfeits, that you will be betrayed. Okay, these people will betray you. And He showed me visions of blood, like pools of blood. Like, so I saw so much blood. I didn't really know where the blood was coming from, but I just saw so much bloodshed. The Lord also led me to Ezekiel chapter 16, verse 39, where it says, I will also give thee into their hand, and they shall throw down thine eminent place, and shall break down thy high places. They shall strip thee also of thy clothes, and shall take their fair jewels, and leave thee naked and bare. Okay, these people that are counterfeits are coming in hot and heavy. Okay, they're coming in hot and heavy. I uploaded a prophetic word where it says prepare for the knock. You're going to have more than one person knocking on your door in this season. Whether that be symbolic or that actually mean literally, you're going to have more than one person popping up to see you. You're going to have more than one opportunity presenting itself to you. For those of you, if this isn't about marriage, if this is about an opportunity, okay, you may have a job opportunity that both are a big deal, but only one of them is from God. You may have two people, or maybe even more than one or two people coming to you in this season, talking to you about marriage, trying to overwhelm you, trying to give you the illusion of options. Okay, and the Lord is saying you're going to need heavenly wisdom and discernment in this time to know what is real and what is not. To marry these counterfeits, you're going to find yourself in a situation where they're going to leave you and break you down so much so that you're not going to recognize yourself. They're going to strip you of your glory. And they will take everything when they leave. When they leave, they will take everything. Everything, the car, the house, whatever, the kids. If you got kids, they're going to take everything. Okay, they will leave you naked and bare. Naked and bare. And you will have to start again at ground zero. This person will do a number on you. Okay, and anything that you try to do when it comes to God, while you're with this person, they'll constantly just interfere. They'll constantly just like come in between what you and God have going on, what the Lord has called you to do. And the Lord is like, don't marry the counterfeit. To be difficult because a lot of these counterfeits are not going to come to you any type of way. Some of these counterfeits are coming to you with rings. They're coming to you with offers. They're coming to you with some real tangible things to solidify their commitment to you and let you know that they're serious. They're not going to come to you looking dusty. They're not going to come to you with a bogus proposal. They're going to come to you real. They're going to come to you like, hey, I got this car. I got this house set up for you. I got this amount of money. I'm set. Like, if you want to get married today, we can get married today. They're going to give you some things that's really going to make you want to consider saying yes. Okay. They're not going to show up, just looking any type of way. They're going to try to convince you to go through with it. But on the other side of that, I do is just lack of peace, constant warfare, and confusion. Okay, it'll look good in the beginning, but as soon as you say I do and you actually in it, all hell's gonna break loose. Whatever demon is over the counterfeit is the thing that's going to be attacking the believer. So whatever demons that they have, whatever idol is over them is what's going to be coming at you all the time. You're going to constantly find yourself fighting with this person in your own home. No matter how much you anoint the house, no matter how many times you pray over them in their sleep, you're just going to have such a lack of peace. Whatever sin is over them the most is what's going to have dominion over the house. That demon is going to constantly try to have dominion over the house. It's going to constantly try to rule over the house, and everything in the house is going to disturb the peace. And you're going to constantly be praying and warring in the spirit. And you're going to be like, God, why are you not answering my prayers? And the Lord is going to say, because you didn't choose me. You did not choose me. Do not put yourself in a situation to be under judgment. Okay, because that's exactly what will happen. If you move in disobedience and you go with the counterfeit for your own fleshly reasons, you will be under judgment. And you will undergo judgment. And some of you will think that it's the enemy. Some of you will think, oh, this is the devil trying to attack my marriage. No, 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 no. It's not the devil. It's not the devil. It's not the devil. It's God's judgment. And some of you really need to study the difference between God's judgment and the enemy. Attacks from the enemy. They differ. A lot of them are going to pop up at your door with luggage. A lot of them are going to pop up at your door with rings. They're going to pop up with you with confusion. You're going to be like, hold on, this ain't making sense. Some of you have been standing for counterfeits for quite some time, and the Lord wants you to be free. He wants you to be free. Some of you have been standing for a person for over 10 years. Some of you have been standing for over 5 years for the same exact person, and it has yielded no fruit. There is no pursuit. Like, this man or this woman is not even pursuing you. They're not even in agreement with you. You're just standing for a person. And the Lord is just saying, allow me to remove that idol. Okay, I talked about this in the counterfeit teaching I did about pagan marriages. And I said that there were some men and women who were not going to be married because they would not allow the Lord to remove this idol that has been placed in their heart. This person has become an idol, and they have idolized this person, and they have been chasing after this person, standing for this person, and wasting all their years praying for this one person and not getting any fruit. And some of them have been confusing crumbs and the illusion of progress for fruit. Any little thing this person does, they're like, oh, God is good. He finally got a job. God is good. He's going back to church now. Look at God working. It's just a matter of time before we get married. And then they stop going to church. And then they make some progress, and then they go back. And they make some progress, and they go back. And the Lord is saying, allow him to remove the idol. Okay, some of you really need to be seeking why you are not married. Because like I said in my last video, some of you should have been married. Some of you should have been married. Some of you were supposed to have been married, but there has been hindrances and delays. And some of you are just like, no. It's just not my time. No, didn't you get a dream? Didn't you get prophesied to years ago about your marriage? Why are you not married? Okay, you need to be seeking the Lord about that, because some of you are kind of just like, oh, I'm just rolling with it. No, you need to be seeking the Lord about why it's been 10 plus years and you're not married. And you've been living a holy life and you've been doing everything right and you have not gone outside of God's will. But for some reason, you just still don't have a ring. Okay, there could be some underlying issue there. It could be a generational curse. You could be dealing with a spiritual spouse. You could be dealing with something. It could be something that's hindering you, a witchcraft attack, whatever it is. You need to be seeking God about it. People who are doing girl math when it comes to their dreams. So some of you will get 5 or 6 dreams that are unsettling or bad about a person. And then you'll ignore those and only acknowledge the ones that are good. And the Lord is saying, stop doing that. I cannot express how many women I have ministered to, and men, who have had dreams of their previous partners doing things and not finding out about it until it was too late. And then they remember, oh, I had a dream about that. I had a dream about that. Oh my goodness, I remember I had a dream about that. And they be like, oh, when did this happen? And it'll be around the same time that they had that dream. Do not ignore the unsettling dreams that you are getting and cast them down and just say, oh, no, it's just the enemy it's just the enemy. It's just the enemy. Do not play with your life like that. Do not play with your life like that. Do not ignore the unsettling dreams. You need to take it to God and say, God, I had this dream. It was unsettling. Lord, I had this dream that my partner was being unfaithful. Lord, I had a dream that my partner was doing X, Y, and Z, or that they were battling this. Lord, what do you say? Lord, what do you say? I submit this to you. Is this from the enemy or is this of you? And Lord, if this is of you, Lord, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to leave this person? Is this you showing me that you don't want me to be here? What do you want me to do? And some of you need to go to God and say, God, if this is not the person that you want for me based on the dreams that you're showing me, I'm believing that it's not. I'm believing that this is not the person that you have for me based on all the dreams that I've had about this person. I've had very few good dreams about this person, but more bad. And because of that, Lord, I'm not strong enough to leave them. I'm not strong enough to walk away. I'm addicted to them. In the physical, everything looks fine. They seem like a good person. They seem like perfect for me. They seem like the person I should want to be with. But Lord, I'm not strong enough to walk away. So Lord, make it so that I have to walk away. Allow them to have the courage to leave me because Lord, I don't have the courage to break up with them. Separate us, oh God. Like, Lord, because if these dreams that you're showing me are true, oh God, I want no parts. I want absolutely no parts. Like, Lord, if you are showing me these dreams that I'm seeing about this person that are negative, God, separate me. I want no parts. If that is what my life will be like, if I come into covenant with this person or if I remain with this person, I want no parts. Remove me right now. Your will over my own desires. Some of you are in these situations with counterfeits because you don't understand that you have been rejected. Okay, just because somebody did not deliberately look you in your face and say, I don't want to marry you or I don't want to be with you, does not mean they have not rejected you. It should not take for somebody to say, I don't want you or I don't want to be with you for you to understand that you have been rejected, right? The way somebody lives their life, the way they treat you, what they do or do not do for you can show you how somebody feels towards you, and it can show you that they're rejecting you. Right? Some of you also do not want to accept that these people that you're standing for have also rejected God. Like, these people do not want God. Okay, they have chose to live a life of lukewarmness. They want to be 1 foot in, 1 foot out, or they don't want to do what you've been called to do. They don't want to do things the way you feel like you should do. They want to do things their own way, and you have to let them. You cannot force them to pick up their cross. You cannot make them walk their walk. They have to do that on their own. You can take a horse to the water, but you can't make it drink the water. You have to allow the Lord to deal with people, and you could pray for them day in and day out. That does not mean that your prayers are in vain, but you should understand, okay, this person has rejected God. This person has rejected me. I need to release this now and just surrender it to God. A lot of you simply won't allow the Lord to replace this person that you're holding on to. And it is the reason why you will remain unmarried, because you just don't want to let go of this person. Queen Vashti, I think that's how you say her name. Queen Vashti came to mind in the book of Esther, how she was the one who was married to the king, right? And when he called for her, she rejected him and she did not come. And to her, it wasn't that big of a deal. To her, she's just like, I got better things to do. But they made an example out of her, and for her not coming when her king called, she lost her position. She was dethroned. She was demoted. Okay? A lot of you will not allow the Lord to remove your Vashtis. You will not allow the Lord to remove these counterfeits, okay? And make room for Esther's, or make room for David's, okay? Saul was rejected by God because Saul was disobedient. Some of these counterfeits did not even start out as counterfeits. Some of them didn't even start out as a counterfeit. Some of them started out as people who showed a lot of potential, who had a lot of promise. Maybe they were anointed, but they were disobedient. They were disobedient, and they rejected God, and they rejected his ways. And the Lord is like, how long are you going to mourn over this person who does not want you? How long are you going to mourn over this person who has walked away from you time and time again? How long are you going to fixate on this person? I have somebody else in mind if you just allow me to replace them, if you just decide to move forward. Of you are actually standing for people who have the spirit of Saul, okay, who have a spirit of witchcraft, who are disobedient, who have rejected the Lord multiple times, okay? This person may have been tall, handsome, charismatic, and you just had your mind set on them, but the Lord is saying, I have rejected them. I have rejected them. Move on. The Lord is saying, how much longer are you going to mourn them? How much longer are you going to pray over them and weep for them and cry over them and call out to me for them? How many more times? How many more times are you going to just waste your life away, waiting for this person to be something that they're not going to be? Okay. The Lord said he wants you to pursue purpose, not surface. A lot of you are looking at the surface level of a person. Saul looked the part, but his heart posture was wrong, and he did not have a heart after God. And a lot of you are chasing after Sauls. A lot of you are standing for counterfeits. You are standing for Sauls. And you need to be asking the Lord, does this person really fit into the plans the Lord has for your life? Okay, because a lot of the people that you're standing for right now may just fit the right now. They just may look good for where you're at right now, but they're not going to be good for where you're going. Okay, you need to be thinking beyond right now. You need to be thinking beyond the next 3 years. You need to be thinking about lifelong. You need to be thinking about how you're going to constantly be growing and changing, how you're going to be constantly evolving. And you need to look at a person where they are right now, and not look at them for their potential, not look at them for what you think they're going to be, and ask yourself, if this person never really evolved and this person never really changed much outside of where they are right now, is that something that would be pleasing to God? Is that something that God will be pleased with? Is that something I'm willing to endure? Is that something I'm willing to stand for? If this person doesn't ever grow spiritually, if this is where they're going to be for the rest of their life? And these are questions that you have to ask. And some people be like, I believe, I stand on faith that they're going to. I understand that. But you have to look at a person right now and ask yourself, there is a possibility that you could outgrow them. And if you outgrow them, do you see you outgrowing them being a problem in your marriage? Or do you see yourself being content with where they are, regardless of where you go or how much you grow? And you're willing to cover them. I'm telling you right now, a lot of women will say they're not okay with that. And they know that the Lord would not be okay with that. A lot of these men will not grow with you. They will not change with you. They will remain the same, and they will just get in your way. And vice versa. Men, there's a lot of women that you're going to marry because of their potential, because of the wrong reasons, but they're not going to grow. They're not going to mature, and they will just get in your way. Allow the Lord to replace the person who has rejected you. If somebody is rejecting you, let them reject you. I have had so many women tell me, like, what if my God-ordained spouse rejected me? Then let them reject you. Release them. Do not try to hold on to somebody who's rejecting you. Allow them to reject you. If somebody rejects you, that's not your problem. If they reject you, move on. Even Jesus had to walk away from people in certain places because they rejected him, and he could do no works there. If they did not want to receive him, Jesus did not force them to receive him. He did not stand there in those cities and say, I'm going to stand here until these people receive me. No, the Lord went about his business. He said, okay, you guys don't want me. There's some other people who need me. Okay, allow the Lord to replace the people who have rejected you, the people who do not want you, and allow him to place you in places and spaces to come in proximity with people who are willing to love you, who are willing to receive you, who are going to do exactly what the Lord has called them to do. Asking yourself, especially if you're a woman, do you want to remain unmarried because you have adopted a doctrine that says only one person in this world was born for you to marry? Right? You are so convinced that this one person is the only person you're going to be with, and this is the person the Lord has for you. Are you willing to be unmarried behind that? Are you willing to never see that come to fruition? Are you willing to be unmarried, waiting for this person? I tell people all the time, this journey is about the promise, not the person. Don't be so focused on the person that you forget about the promise. When the Lord gave you a promise for marriage, the Lord did not promise you that you would be married to a specific person. It's very rare that I hear the Lord promise somebody a person. The promise is marriage. You need to hold on to the promise. And if that person does not fit God's will for your life, you have to be willing to release and move on to the next thing. You have been waiting 10 plus years for somebody, saying you should have been married. I should have been married by now. Yeah, you should have been married, but not to that person. Not to that person. I'm telling you, be seeking God about that. You've been waiting for marriage for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 15 years. You need to be seeking God about why you are not married. Especially if he promised you marriage. Especially if it was prophesied to you, over you, and you had multiple confirmations about marriage, and it's been 10, 15 years later and you're still not married. You need to be asking why. Some of you are in these situations because the counterfeits have been playing along like this is something that they really want. Some of you have been manipulated. Okay, some of you are being spiritually manipulated. Okay, they have been acting like they want this too. They have been acting like they're taking steps towards this, that this is something they're really considering. They're giving you the illusion of progress. They're giving you the illusion of change. Okay, but they're really just manipulating you. Okay, people who are doing this, who know that they're manipulating you and they know they're not really going to follow through with this, are doing this in attempts to hold a position in your life. They know that if they release you and they stop entertaining this whole idea, or they tell you the truth that they never had any plans to marry you or really be with you, that they'll have no reason to be connected to you anymore. This is their way to bond with you. They're using this as a way to bond with you. Okay, this is a bonding type of thing. If this situation did not exist with some of these counterfeits, you would have absolutely no reason to talk to them. They would not fit into your life in any other way if this situation did not occur. And some of you need to really think about that. If it wasn't for this situation, would this person even still be in my life? 9 times out of 10, they wouldn't. This is something that continuously brings them closer and closer to you. It helps them really be closest to you as possible without them having to actually commit. A lot of them are entertaining this, and it allows them to have the benefits of you as a spouse, a benefit of you as a person, without them having to take responsibility for your feelings or have to really commit. They could just talk about it, but they don't have to actually follow through and do it. And if you're a woman, you should never deal with a man who does not put his feet behind his words. Okay, you know what I'm saying? He don't put the pedal to the metal. Okay, he doesn't actually take action with what he's doing. Do not let these people manipulate you, okay? That's why I said in these situations, you guys really need to be looking for the fruit. You need to be looking for the fruit, not just a couple dreams, not just a couple prophecies, but actually looking for the proof in the pudding, actually asking the Lord to give you fruit and asking the Lord to show you. And if you've been in this situation for a long time and all you have is words, all you have is a couple dreams and some fulfilled prophecies, and none of them are coming together with you and this person, you really need to be asking yourself, like, okay, what am I still doing here? I left this person today and you said, hey, I'm going to hang this up, and you stopped talking to them today. They probably would still be in the same position they were in when you left them, because their journey was never really about Christ. It was just about having access to you. And you know, a lot of you, it's hard to discern because it looks like the real thing, and there's a lot of supernatural things happening, you know, between you, and then, oh, they're having this dream and you're having this dream, and this is happening and this is happening. But I'm telling you right now, you really need to be using your discernment, because a lot of these people can spiritually manipulate you. This could also be reversed as well. Some of you could have been manipulating situations to have the outcome that you want. Like some of you may have been spiritually manipulating this to have an outcome that's in your favor, where you're kind of like, oh, I keep having these dreams, so I'm gonna keep working towards it until you get the desired outcome that you want. This is why it's always important to say God's will over your will. Okay, some of you want your will. Some of you want what you want. And some of you live and say, oh, God's going to give me the desires of my heart. And you treat God like a genie. You treat God like he's supposed to submit to you. Right? When we're supposed to be submitting to him. And this is why anytime I pray, I always say God's will over my own desires. I don't care how bad I want it. I don't care how good it looks at the time, because I know that God knows what is best for me. I know God can see beyond what I can see. And I know if it look good to me right now, don't mean it's going to be good for me 5 years from now, or 2 years from now, or even a month from now. Okay, you guys need to always be seeking God's will and being in alignment with God's will and not your own desires, and always be checking your motives. Be asking yourself, like, why am I doing this? Like, am I doing this because I want this? Am I doing this because, you know, I have just convinced myself that this is what I should want, or I feel like this is what I should want, or am I just obsessed with this person? You really need to be asking yourself these questions. I did a teaching called God Ordained or Insane that you should watch in its full entirety. That's on my YouTube channel. It's called God Ordained or Insane. It's part of the Kingdom Marriage series. Well, these are the signs that you're dealing with a counterfeit, or that you're in a counterfeit situation, or that you're in error. So if you haven't seen that, go back and watch it. So you cannot, like I said before, you cannot force someone to want God the way that you want God. You cannot force someone to run after God the way that you're running after God, or treat their body holy the way you treat your body holy. That is a decision they have to make. It's not something you could coerce them into. It's not something that you could pray them into. You could pray with them all day long, but at the end of the day, they have their own free will. They have a choice, and they can choose what they want to do. Okay, you cannot make them do what you want. Okay, some of you are simply not married because you don't know how to let go. Like, you see somebody not doing what is of God, and you just won't allow yourself to believe that this person is somebody that you need to release. Lord also said that any children that you have with this person will be split in their mind. Okay, so you'll be trying to raise your children up in the ways of the Lord, and you'll be trying to go to church and pray and teach them all these things. But this other person who is carnal is going to try to raise their children up in their image and do the worldly things that they want to do, and be trying to raise them up to be like them. And you're constantly going to be fighting, and you're going to have a hard time. And your children are going to be split in your mind. Mom believes this, dad believes that, or dad believes this and mom believes that. And so they're kind of going to adapt to both. They're going to believe both, because they grew up with both. They've been instilled to believe both, and they will be split in their minds. Okay. And some of you simply need to study your bloodline. If you study your bloodline, you will begin to see the similarities in these counterfeits in the men or the women in your family. And you'll be like, dang, this person does remind me of my dad. This person does remind me of my uncle. This person does remind me of my mother, just as a man. You know, and you'll begin to see the similarities there, but you have to know from where you came from. You have to study the errors of the people who came before you to be able to bypass that in the future, because the enemy is not going to do something new. Okay, he's going to present the old thing in a new situation. But if you don't know what people fell for in the past, you're not going to know what to pay attention to. You're not going to know what to look for. I studied the women in my family. I studied the men in my family. And so whenever I see something that reminds me of it, I start getting a little... Like, I start being a little, this is familiar to me. This is familiar to me. This is familiar to me. And I used to always think that the men in my life, you know, in the past didn't have anything in common. I used to think they were all random. I used to think they all came from different backgrounds, different upbringings, etc., etc. But I began to realize as I studied my bloodline, they did have something in common. Actually, they had multiple things in common. And I began to realize that I was falling for the same thing in a different form. Okay, the enemy would just give me the same thing in a different form, in a different box. But it was the same thing. Okay, if you study your bloodline, you study the men and women in your family, you'll begin to find patterns, and you'll begin to be like, oh, sometimes you'll be able to identify a curse. You'll be like, okay, all the women in my family marry very late. Okay, all the women in my family get divorced. All the women in my family get married really young to abusive men. All the women in my family don't get married at all. All the women in my family are rebellious. All the men in my family are addicts. All the men in my family are whatever, you know what I'm saying, promiscuous or whatever may have you. Pay attention to those things. Pay attention to those things and pray against those things, because do not think you are exempt from that. Do not think that you are above that. Don't think, oh, that was them. That's not me. Do not ever think that you're better than them. You need to be studying them and saying, okay, this is in my bloodline. These things have happened. How do I ensure that this does not happen to me? Let me study the enemy's old tricks, how he's played on my family before, so I can ensure that I don't fall for the same thing. Like, if you spend some time studying your bloodline and the patterns in your bloodline and getting yourself a chart and just like charting it down and seeing the things that happen, identifying the patterns, you'll be surprised how much revelation you can get about your own love life. Okay. There's so many people out here who just ignore those things and they just be like, yeah, whatever. I'm telling you, you'll get a lot of revelation from that. So that may be something you need to study and look into as well. But the Lord really wants people to be aware of counterfeits and counterfeit proposals in this time and warning people about these marriages. Okay. He's just like, look, I know a lot of you guys have been standing for a long time. He's like, but a lot of these counterfeits are getting ready to come and propose. And a lot of you are going to be so like eager. And some of you are going to be so like, oh my goodness, I've been dreaming about this, that you're going to ignore the signs. You're going to ignore God's warnings. And the Lord is saying, do not ignore his warnings. And he's telling you what's going to happen if you ignore him. Okay, there's going to be a lot of people meeting their spouses in this time. Like, if you don't know who your spouse is, you could be getting ready to meet them in this season. And then there'll be a counterfeit who comes like and just asks to have your hand in marriage around the same time you're supposed to meet the person that God really wants you with. You know, be discerning in this time, have heavenly wisdom. Remember Galatians 5:19 through 21 and really apply that scripture to your situation. Not romanticize potential. Okay, look at the reality of the situation. Ask yourself real questions. Okay, do not just allow that voice in your head to lead everything that you do, because some of you think that everything that you hear in your mind, everything that you dream, everything that you see is the Holy Spirit, and you don't know how to test the Spirit, and that's how you found yourself in this situation. But I'm telling you right now, if you marry this counterfeit, if you entertain this counterfeit, if you do not discern the spirits, if you do not discern the spirits operating behind these counterfeits, you will get yourself in a situation where you're not only going to be betrayed, but that they're going to leave you, and they're going to strip you of your glory and strip you of everything that you have. Okay, and leave you with nothing, and you will have to start at rock bottom. Okay, every word back to the Lord. Be praying on this, you guys. Be praying about these counterfeit marriages, and be careful. Do not just accept anything in this time. Ask for heavenly wisdom, and do not allow anybody to pressure you to get married. Do not allow any man or any woman to say, let's get married. They pressuring you. Do not allow them to pressure you. Pressure is never a good thing. Yeah, let's go get her, you know, pressuring you because they want to have sex, or pressuring you because they want to do it right now. Now, the Bible does say let them marry so that they, you know, don't get burned up in flames, you know, due to passion or something like that. But do not allow somebody to pressure you merely because they do not want to wait to have sex with you. Okay, if you are willing to wait, but they're not, that is not your problem. Okay, if the Lord has not told you to go ahead and do this, if the Lord has not told you that this is okay, don't do it, y'all. Do not allow somebody to pressure you into getting married because they don't want to wait for sex. Do not allow somebody to pressure you into getting married because they are ready, because they feel that they're ready, because they just have this impulse to do it now. Seek the Lord every step of the way. If you have a pastor, go to your pastor. If you're in a church and you have a good pastor, go talk to your pastor. Go take that person to your pastor. Okay? And say, hey, pastor, we thinking about getting married. I want you to pray over us. I want you to tell me what you think. You know, if you have any wise counsel among you, do not leave them out of this decision. You know, do not just be doing things in secrecy. Okay, do not be doing things in secret. Okay, I always encourage somebody to have some type of mentor, some type of pastor that you answer to, so that the only voice you're not hearing is your own. Abriah Serenity. If you haven't already, click that like and subscribe button and turn on those notifications so you don't miss any more uploads from me. I love you all with the love of the Lord, and I'll see you guys next time.